Yeah, no. Welcome to Twin City Peaks.
This is the most recording we've done in so long.
You like that? You like that fucking
We'll sing a little
little
note.
jingle?
It's been a while.
Welcome to 35.
It's been a while.
I really like typing the big numbers now. They're cool.
Just wait till it's triple digits.
Oh, that's 2 years. It's only 2 years. Got like a year and a third left.
And that's assuming we stick to what we're doing. Like assuming this
The
doesn't-
schedule. Yeah. And that's just, well, fuck.
Who knows?
We're behind, we'd be on 40 right now, probably. That's upsetting.
No.
Yep, probably.
Shut up,
Probably
no.
1 or 2 maybe away at most.
We'd probably be
most.
at like 37, 38 maybe.
I think probably 38 at least.
That's tough.
Yeah,
but,
it is tough,
You know,
but here we are, 35. Okay, well, welcome. Thanks for joining us. I hope you guys enjoy the high-quality video. It's pretty cool. This time, we're trying 4K instead of just 1080p.
which unlocked so many new problems. Not even problems, but
Challenges.
challenges, barriers.
Technology, financially. And it's not because it's too much money. It's just we got to make the right choices. That's the big deal here.
And we always come back to this is just a hobby, but it's progressively becoming
That's
excessive.
Yeah, that's the thing. So I'm going to take a quick look here.
like exponentially excessive.
Because right now, we're looking at... Let me take a quick piece. We need to buy a UPS. So the one that said Best Buy, we're looking at $129, give or take. PC cases are retarded. Like, just plain and simple, it is some of the dumbest shit. Some of the most... it can either be $50 for a pile of garbage, or it can be $300 for, top-of-the-line bullshit, and it's anywhere in between. But it also just depends on how many, drive bays it has. But the problem is today's day and age, having, a lot of drive bays and stuff is not a thing. It's not really...
I know.
You know what I mean? Most people just get SSDs, and even at that, it's like an M.2, so a little, tiny
Yeah.
little stick, and they call it a day. You know what I mean? You need 1 or 2 of those, and that's all you really need.
Okay, because a normal person, what does a normal person need? Couple terabytes?
Yeah, really. Unless you're super hardcore gaming, maybe 3, 4, but even then, you can get an SSD and a SATA SSD, and really you'd be good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Boot drive and a big old chunker for games.
So yeah, 4 terabytes.
Yeah, at most. And then if you really do pictures and storage and shit like that, you get externals, and that's the general population that does that.
Okay, but really, over the course of a normal person, what do you accumulate? 4, 5
Yeah.
terabytes.
Well, depending on these days, right? Media is getting bigger, so that it depends on the kind of shit that you do. If you do a lot of piracy, then you're gonna wind up needing more space. If you are just generally buying shit, then you really are not gonna need a lot of space because you tend to buy Blu-rays and shit like that, right?
But how many people do you know that are I need 10 terabytes?
Honestly, 1 in 10.
I don't know anybody.
I used to be more in those kind of circles.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
But that's what I
Only 1
mean.
in-
It's a very
yeah.
isolated
But
circle.
I would say still, even in the circles, it's probably just 1 in 10. It's not a lot of people that
Yeah.
need a ton of storage. Or you are doing it for business purposes, then I don't really count that. For personal use, if we're talking straight personal use, we could even argue the podcast isn't really personal use.
No,
You know
that's what I
mean?
was just going to say. It's kind of getting
It's
into
not-
the business.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's now I'm gonna start reaching out to, we're gonna host and we're gonna reach out to Spotify and Apple
Yeah.
and shit, and that's kind of I'm kind of making a transaction, kind of
Yeah.
a business deal almost, really. It's hey, our shit's worth to have on your platform.
Yeah.
Pay a host. It's free for you to grab and have more content on your shit for free.
Yeah.
Because that's why they look at that way.
Yeah. Well,
'Cause
yeah.
they're it's just free content for us to post on our shit. If it's bringing 10 more people, it's 10 more people that might be paying that $10 a month.
Yeah.
We're making $100 off this guy a month. Great. It's extra. They don't give a shit.
Or it increases LTV, lifetime value of customer.
Yeah.
Because it might be this is a nut. Say someone
It's
might.
enough for him to be oh, he's on here. Well, I'm staying on this platform.
It's okay, this is another person that I enjoy on this platform, so okay, I'll keep it.
That's kind of like Joe Rogan going on Spotify. Probably raised that shit like crazy.
Well, because how many people were would think about canceling Spotify, but I like the Joe Rogan, so
or
I'll.
how many people just signed up for Spotify because of Joe
Oh,
Rogan?
I bet a lot.
It's insane. It's probably an
Why do you
insane
think he got a
amount.
$100 million deal?
Absolutely. They knew what they were doing. They knew what they were doing.
Like they probably made that off of it. Like,
See-
and then also ads and everything else.
Like, this is mental here. So in stock for cases, like the most reasonable thing that we're kind of looking at is, I don't know, $84.
It's not terrible.
It's not terrible, but if we're looking at it, hold on, let's take a quick peek. I know they're not going to be able to really see it. It's not a big deal. Oh, it's not a bad case, actually. It's the 300D Airflow, which is really nice.
When you drive bass.
That is where I think we might run into an issue. It doesn't really have any at all. Oh, I'm not sure. It kind of looks
Does
like
it say in it? In the
Yeah, there might be a
specs?
description. Hold on. Thanks for blah blah blah. Tempered glass, ATX components, which is good because it's kind of standard, and we'll be able to find kind of anything. Okay, so spacious interiors. It can fit 2 SSDs, 2 HDDs, and so if we do buy something like this, that just means that we are going to double-sided tape some HDDs. Yeah, that's what's gonna happen.
So we're going for a 4-drive configuration?
Yeah, that's kind of like what I'm hoping for. So,
We should also probably look at the
those
RAIDs.
Those are the 2 drive spaces there. Then the what do you call it? Will sit here. The what do you call it? Power supply will sit in this corner, and then possibly, honestly, we'll just double-sided tape some drives on top or underneath or to the side of where the drive bay actually goes. I really don't care, so long as they fit.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. It really is not for pretty points here, my friend. Look, see right here? So the motherboard will sit against here, right?
Yeah.
And then you'll have, like, there's not really going to be a GPU there. So we're going to have space on this shelf. Fuck that. That's how we're doing that. I don't give a fuck. Okay, so yeah, we got, fuck, we're going to Best Buy after this, aren't we? That's upsetting, actually, a little bit.
I'm looking at the different RAID configurations.
RAID series. RAID operating system. So RAID, folks, for those that don't know, is kind of like it's a storage array. So it is an array that appears to the operating system as a single logical drive. And that just basically means that RAID employs the techniques of disk mirroring or disk striping. I am straight up reading this off the internet, so don't judge me. So disk mirroring and disk stripping. So mirroring will copy identical data onto more than one drive. Stripping partitions help spread data over multiple disk drives. So let's say you have a big storage kind of situation. Now, you can do, from my understanding, you can do both. You could do partitions and mirroring. However, you would need like fucking, I don't know, 16 drives to make it worth it, right?
Yeah.
So what you would do is you'd be mirroring like half of them to the other half. Meanwhile, those half of those drives would have all the same files. Like, not all the same files, sorry. The half of the drives would have different files. But let's say you're uploading, so one file would go to the first drive, the next file would go to the next drive, the next file would go to the next drive, so that when you pull on those drives later, it separates the load.
Yeah.
So it makes things faster. Whereas if you had it all on one drive, now you have to wait for that drive to process everything all at once. Not all at once, but
what,
piece by piece.
What is that?
That's the partitioning system.
Oh, okay.
Whereas if we do the, like, well, not where we do, but the, oh fuck, that finger does not.
Well, I was thinking maybe run it in RAID 1, like mirrored disks.
Yeah, that's likely what we're just gonna do.
2 or more drives have identical data on them. A single drive failure will not result in data loss.
Yeah.
Speed and size is limited by the slowest and smallest disk. But if they're all the same drive, there won't be a bottleneck there. Because in this, it's like, say you have like a high speed like drive, like
Sure.
say you have SSD and
Yeah,
hard
yeah,
drives,
yeah.
you'd be limited by the hard drive
Yeah.
for write speeds. But if they're all the same,
Yeah,
there won't be a
exactly.
bottleneck.
Exactly.
So the only disadvantage is if you have different ones, really, in RAID 1.
Uh-huh.
And
So RAID 1 mirroring, you're saying.
and also in RAID 1, only one drive is needed for recovery.
So RAID 0 stripping is the RAID configuration involving the division of data across the disks where there's no redundancy of the disks. So we're not doing RAID 0.
Yeah, no, I think RAID 1.
RAID 0 is good for high performance gaming rig, multiple SSDs, a video editing workstation with 2 or more hard drives to improve data access. That's the key with RAID 0 is data access, not storage.
Yeah.
Is really what
That's
the
why I
best
think RAID
use
1.
of it. And then disadvantages, no duplication and no backup or redundancy. That is the opposite of what we need. Mirroring, so yeah, server has duplicate drives, so network attached storage is what it's called, NAS.
The only other thing we could do is RAID 10.
RAID 10. Let me take a quick peek here. What's RAID 10?
RAID 10, 1 plus strip set of mirrored subset. 4 or more drives are made into 2 mirrored that are stripped, larger size and higher speed than RAID 1 and more redundancy than RAID 0. And only 1 drive in a mirrored set can fail, but like the odds of more than 1 drive failing. Like if we have multiple drives fail, like we're fucked no matter what you really do. Unless you do.
So it's multiple pairs. No, we lose a lot of space that way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. No, we'll just do RAID 1.
No, like RAID 10, as far as I know, I'm pretty sure it's more secure. But yeah, you lose.
Yeah. You would just
shit.
lose a fuckload of, yeah.
That's like if you had like something really sensitive.
Yeah, really sensitive, or you just have already like you have 40 drives. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're okay with just having 10 of those drives usable or whatever.
Because I know like Linus Tech Tips, it's either RAID 1 or RAID 10.
Yeah, he usually. Oh, he does
I think
RAID
it's-
0 too. Yeah,
Yeah.
you do RAID 0 for all their work stuff.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
but it gets put on the server. I think their servers
Yeah.
are like,
They're probably all
RAID
like,
1 or RAID
not
10.
RAID, but they do use a similar.
well, it's an
aspects.
enterprise.
Yeah,
but
yeah, exactly.
but there's like crazy redundancy.
Yeah, 100%.
Which makes sense in a server.
Yeah, exactly.
But we're not building a server.
No, we don't
yet.
Oh god.
That after the
Honestly-
NAS, it's gonna be a server.
Yeah, after the NAS though, like the NAS is gonna last us for a long time because you can get a fucking wild NAS. That's the thing. Like, unless you have a whole entire corporation accessing it, you don't really need more than a NAS.
My thing though is
The difference between what we're gonna start with as a NAS and what you could complete with as a NAS is like 2 different worlds apart.
but I'm saying a server with like say business and then like if we had an office.
Yeah,
Is
but
you'd
that
have the-
wouldn't even be podcast oriented. That'd be for the business.
No, but I'm assuming whatever building we have for the business, we'll have a
Yeah,
podcast
yeah.
room.
Sure. But
But then you can have all your computers hooked up to just that, and you don't have to have like, you know what I mean? Everything can just be stored on the server. I'm trying to think of a plausible
we keep
reason.
them separated. We keep them separated. You keep the business and the podcast stuff separate, for sure. Like on hardware, for sure. I think you just keep them separate. Like what would be the big deal of having a little box NAS hidden in a corner somewhere? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wouldn't be a huge deal, but we'd have a sweet one by then. That's the thing, right? And we'd have like a new kind of.
What
whatever.
is the real benefit of a server versus a NAS?
A server is like you host your own. I'm not super like really familiar with this kind of thing, but a server would be like where you host on it. You have your website on it. You have your. Essentially, it's just easier to access from like a billion computers. Let me take a peek.
Enhanced security and easy integration with backup and recovery tools.
Yeah, so it's like it's just a bigger version, and then like with a bunch of extra tools and
Yeah.
easier to
It
access.
might be
with
something
like,
in the future.
yeah, no, absolutely. I'm not saying it's not, but not for the podcast, dude. Like it really won't be necessary. I know you think so, but it's not.
No, I meant if we integrated everything together.
Yeah, but I don't really know if that's. I don't know if we really want to do that.
I don't know, man. I don't
Just
work
saying.
here.
We will be.
Fuck.
That is where we work.
Damn, that sucks.
That sucks. Start building this whole fucking thing, this empire, and you're like, yeah, this is lame. It's not what I want to do. You almost spit again. I'm gonna watch where you're drinking, so I don't say things.
Yeah, don't talk when I'm
It's
drinking,
not
man.
my fucking problem. It's your problem.
I'll make it your problem.
You almost did.
I'll make it your
You
problem.
almost did. You almost
Bitch.
did. And we would have had to
Um,
like throw one of these mics out. I'd have cried.
So, how much storage are we actually? Oh, so we're gonna get 2 terabyte drives.
Yeah, are reasonable, so that'd be 4 terabytes.
It's not much more than we have,
It's
though.
not much more than we have.
So what? That'll buy us a
Okay,
year.
but here's the thing. Think about it this way. It's not much more than we have, but I'm using mine. Half that storage on there is not for this,
I know.
right? We would have 4 dedicated terabytes to this.
How long do you think 4 terabytes would last the podcast?
Divide. We're
I got
going to do
it.
this real quick here. Watch this shit. Let's go. Let's say they're 15 gigs, just because that's the max upload speed. Or
Yeah.
the max upload anyways.
Yeah.
Let's be reasonable and say 10. Okay.
And
10.
what? You're gonna delete all the raw files, though?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Fuck it. Because it's not really important to us. The only time raw files would matter is if I'm actually doing like I have kept a couple of them. I have kept a couple of them for past podcasts when I'm actually editing words and editing things that are,
Okay.
right taken out. I do want to keep that copy of a raw one where I can hear everything. You know
Now,
what I mean? I don't know what necessarily the purpose is, but I think there's a reason.
now my thing though is in the future when like say we have an editor and it's like more edited, would we want those raws still?
Yeah, but that's where we would come into like upgrading the NAS with like
Okay.
stupid amount of storage. You know what I mean? And at that point,
So what's the calculation though?
so I'm looking at 10 gigabytes. We're going to average one a week for the moment.
Yeah.
If you said for the next, let's say, a year or two, we're not going to look too much further into the future than that
So
because things look how volatile this year of podding has been, right?
Yeah.
We did like 8 months of the same shit. Nothing changed for like 8 months.
Yeah.
And then suddenly we went, we got new mics, and then we got like we kind of switched cameras, and then we switched cameras, and then we got some fucking,
Yeah.
new tech and like whatever else. Now we've switched to different applications to do recording and whatever else. We're just improving it really, really fast all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So
So what is it though? So 10 gigabytes.
40 gigs a month on average, times 12, 480.
Okay. So
Not even half a terabyte. So 4 terabytes is lots.
should be okay for now
That's plenty for at least 2, maybe 3 years.
at our current rate.
At our current rate, all right, watch this. Let's do 60. Yeah, 60 times. That's still not even a terabyte in a year. That's doing 6 episodes a month. That's 720.
Yeah.
And that's at 10 gigs. So let's actually we'll go to the extreme now. This is kind of necessary. So we'll go 15 times 6. We'll just go right to the top. Times 12. That's a terabyte. We're good.
Yeah.
That's 4 years at full capacity, 6 episodes a month,
Now,
15 gigabytes.
because we're going to be doing clips as well, those will be saved.
Yeah, that's fine. But this is like, I just calculated the full
Yeah.
extreme. Clips are small.
Yeah.
And they're not usually the full resolution anyways because they're going on social media sites. And they get molested anyways.
So we'll say a terabyte.
I'm sure you've
A
seen
year?
clips and you're like, that's not how the pod looked.
Yeah.
They never do.
So realistically, it'd be about a terabyte a year.
Give or take. Yep. I think we can live with 4 terabytes now that we just did a little bit of calculations.
I thought it took up way more storage.
The thing is I also... Well, we also have pictures and shit like that, but those don't take a lot of room. And yeah,
Just doesn't seem like much.
I
Like a
know.
terabyte for a year's
I
worth of
know.
recording.
I know. It really doesn't.
And I mean, but that's also not to say that like
Whatever else
it doesn't
happens.
ramp up.
And like,
though.
and that's the thing, right? I'm also thinking, this is good wiggle room. That's a lot of space for 4 years. It's a good amount for 2 still.
That's what I mean. Even if we like really ramped it up and had more
We're
videos,
cranking
and,
2 terabytes worth of any content in 2 years. It's fine. All right. We'll
No,
just
I-
send it to the moon after.
at the very least, the 4 terabytes should cover 2 years.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
At the least.
Yeah.
If we're going beyond that, like, what the fuck are we doing?
Well,
Now it's not just a podcast. What do we do, 3 podcasts?
fucking 3 podcasts.
Most I'd like to do is another one in the future.
is doing a fucking vlog. A fucking
Jesus Christ.
yeah.
Now I'm imagining like there's a guy named, shouts out. This guy's awesome. Really nice gentleman too. Do you know a guy named Ethan Henson?
No.
Pretty popular in the Sioux with videography. He's
Okay.
been involved with some of the bigger places in town, and he videographies for like I don't want to like mess anything up, but like I think like the market and
Yeah.
shit like that. Like local community stuff is a better way to put it.
Yeah.
And he posts regularly on his Instagram. He's a big avid like outdoors kind of thing where he's like not outdoors as in like bush stuff, but
Yeah.
like being outdoors in the city.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like, anyways, from my perspective. It's really cool, and I'm just imagining like this guy's a videographer.
Yeah.
This is what he does, homie. I'm imagining the amount of shit that he has in terms of storage
Oh.
must be obscene. Because, like, we're recording an hour's worth of shit, but the way that we record, we know that it's going to be from when we start to when we finish. Hardly anything we need to chop, hardly anything we need to add. We're not trying to gather, like, let's say it's in nature or something, and you record 3 hours of footage because that like 40 minutes at that one point was the peak footage, but
Yeah.
you had to watch all of it and like get, okay, now you got all these chunks you got to delete. You probably keep the originals and keep whatever for whatever reason, you know what I mean? That's how a lot of people are. He must have like fucking hundreds of terabytes.
The only thing also
Maybe, I don't know. I'm
Speaking of storage though
From not
is
knowledge.
gas pods run a lot longer.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. And that's going to be like, I don't know. That'll be where maybe there are times we have to split part 1,
And,
part 2.
That's what I'm not understanding though, because there's so many podcasts I watch on YouTube that are like 3 hours long.
I know. And
And
I
they
think
are like
maybe-
4K resolution. How?
massive compression maybe. Like crazy compression.
But how does it still get 4K?
Because you can still YouTube is not a lie. It's kind of a lie. Like sometimes 4K is not exactly 4K on YouTube. That's why they have this new thing where it's like 1080p high bit rate, which is like almost like 1440p. But it's just more dense of pixels, more dense bits that are. There's
Yeah.
more bits sending that way for the same amount of for the same resolution. So because there's more bits, there's more information.
Yeah.
Right. So more bits means a better picture, regardless of the 1080p-ness or the.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why when we're recording for Rumble in our 1080p yesterday, it turned out to be like okay on Rumble and actual 1080p on YouTube,
Yeah.
which was slightly disappointing to find out. But we're going to find out what happens when we're recording in 4K, and then see if it actually uploads a better quality on Rumble or if it's just Rumble being Rumble.
Well, at least though.
Because they are smaller than YouTube. Think about it that way too. They're way smaller than YouTube. I'm sure they have to cut your shit up a little bit to
Yeah.
even afford to let you freely upload shit to their servers.
Yeah.
Right?
Because
So
server
it's like-
space. Because they also have to store all this too.
This is exactly right. And people forget that that's why YouTube has to like charge you for 4K for a lot of stuff now and
Yeah.
get you to pay YouTube Premium.
Well, I wonder though, is there like with YouTube Premium, can you upload more?
With YouTube Premium, it's not necessarily upload more. I think it's just you get just higher quality, like you can watch higher quality stuff. You can.
Well,
you know what I
and
mean?
I know you
No
can
ads,
also,
that kind of
yeah, no ads, which I don't have anyway.
yeah, I don't. Either.
And you can also download without like pirating.
Yeah, exactly. Which is like
Makes it way easier.
cool, I guess. But
For like that reason alone, I've thought about YouTube Premium, but then it never happened.
but there's fucking dude
there's a million fucking things.
add-ons. Yeah, there's add-ons
Yeah.
you can get to just download the video off the fucking.
I know it's just for like to have it on my phone because
You
then
can
it,
do that. Oh yeah, you're Apple.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
That's upsetting. It's really upsetting.
well because then I have to go to my downloads and it's just like a whole other.
Because I have like VLC and anything I just transfer on there just
Yeah.
pulls up and I can just watch it like a file. You know what I mean?
But at the very least, a NAS will buy us well over a year,
Oh, yeah.
2 years
Yeah, yeah.
before we actually have to do anything.
Run into
Even
any
if we like
issues.
start ramping up both like the podcast and like if we do anything remotely personal that's involved in recording.
Okay, so let's take a quick look at like a price here for a NAS.
Yeah.
Because, okay, so the UPS is going to be no option. That just kind of fucking has to happen. It
Yeah,
sucks,
so
but
$130.
$130. PC case, if we're going to
Let's
just
say
grab
100.
the 300 the 3000D there, we'll just say $85. Motherboard, I'm going to guess in the 120 range.
Do 150 just for a buffer.
Okay. It's not a bad idea. CPU, fucking dirt cheap, my guy. We can fucking eBay that thing, my friend. I'm not kidding.
What,
we'll just
like
eBay a
$100?
CPU, 70, 75. We'll say 70. We'll say 80 to be safe. Power supply. Let's look up.
So what are the prices so far? 130
450 watt
plus
power
a case is
supply.
100. Motherboard.
Oh my God.
What'd you say is a
Fuck,
motherboard?
Power supply is fucking nothing, dude. Motherboard's 150 we put in there. Power supply, we're just going to put 75 because it's kind of unreasonable to put anything more than that. Fans are like a dozen bucks each. We only need maybe
Two, three. So add
3, I would say. So we'll go
30.
no, we'll
Six?
put $40 for
40 bucks.
to be safe. And then HDDs. Okay.
4 terabyte. It's gonna be $100 each, unless they're used. But that's where I don't want to go used, just because they do, like, especially if they've been written to.
That's fine. HDDs are more they're way hardier than a SATA in that way. Like
I
you can-
know.
Here's the thing, man. Here's the thing, man. Because we're
But
not.
where are we gonna find 4 identical drives?
It's possible. We'll figure this out. Like, I'll take a look. I'll do some hunting, and if it gets too long,
Should we assume? Let's assume new for now.
what I think is here's the thing. Sure, whatever. Put a price in for new. What do you want to put in for new?
I put
$400.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
Is there anything else we would need?
Hold on.
Probably miscellaneous cables. Maybe.
No, I don't think so. No.
Is there
It's
anything
like
else?
the case and the motherboard should like have this shit. What did I say? No, 400. No, that's pretty much it. Fans. No, that's pretty much it.
Okay.
For computer for the moment. Worst case, we need a GPU. I just fucking go text Danger and go, hey, I need to borrow your shit. Sucks to be you.
So it's gonna be $1,000.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Which
Is like because we're designing a PC in a certain way, it's different. You know what I mean?
yeah, oh yeah,
It's a $600 computer.
yeah, with $400 worth of storage.
That's the reason. But this is why I would like to go used. And the safety of it is negligible because we're doing RAID.
Okay,
Think about it that way.
this is true.
It doesn't matter.
Another
If it
question.
fails, then I will succumb to it and I'll just buy you 4 new fucking drives myself. Huh? Okay? Good with that? Because I'm
Okay.
not fucking... Like, I've watched 2... Okay, this is my problem with it. I've watched way too many Linus videos of him buying a bunch of used bullshit and then running a game at 100 frames a second. And I'm like,
Okay, but what's the longevity of that PC?
they still have PCs that they've kept from past fucking builds.
Like
and they
the
run
Scrapyard
fine.
Wars?
Yeah, all that shit runs still. It's fine. They just pull that shit apart and then they have parts that work. 'Cause
So
they have a storage room that's
Oh,
just
I know.
racks, right? You've seen it. Racks of CPU, like a box full of CPUs. It's like, pick one.
Well, that's how. Like he even said, like they do those crazy builds and then they pull the PC apart.
Exactly right. So they can reuse it for the next build. Whatever parts work, they just keep. That shit just works.
Because it's what, like almost every day they'll build like a new PC. It's never new
Rip it apart.
parts.
Yeah, there's a dozen PCs that they have built in the past that they just kept because it was like a special thing
Yeah.
or whatever. But the majority of their regular builds get pulled apart.
Oh,
Like the majority.
and then I like
like
how
the PlayStation their play button PC that doesn't get pulled apart.
Yeah.
Things like the special mineral water PC that doesn't get pulled apart. They know that that's like that's it. That's a product. That's the thing now.
But because even if you watch his videos, like most of the time, they're not actually unboxing. It's just like stuff in boxes. Like you never see them pull wrappers off. Really,
Hardly ever. And
Unless-
lately though, they'll admit they'll be like, Linus has been like, oh, this is the first time I'm opening this, And you could tell. It's like, oh, give me.
And he's
can
actually
I get a knife or whatever? And it's like he has to slit the things off.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I'm really excited. I've never even, you know what I mean? You could tell. But then other times it's like, yeah, we're just reviewing this product, and you're like, oh, it's been opened.
And
They've looked it
also,
over.
the only time it's not is when they say this video is sponsored by whatever company, and they like sent all the stuff.
Yeah.
That's the only time. If it's out of their pocket, it's shit
But-
from the back.
What happens is with the shit that they get shipped, those companies want them to open it, test it now, because
Yeah.
they have that whole testing center now.
Yeah.
So they want them to use the lab to test their shit. So they do send them, and then they might send them a couple so that they get to open one and then get to like
Yeah.
reveal one or whatever the fuck, right? They always have different.
No,
spins on it, but
he is.
point being though is I've watched too many videos where they buy successful stuff used. And
Oh,
like,
yeah.
they bit like Scrapyard Wars is literally just unbelievably somehow just throw shit together type PCs, and they run and they just play games on them. I'm like, this is amazing, dude. Like the most recent one was the
They just described. Well, it was a little while ago. But
yeah, but the most recent one they did was kind of a cool one where they did Are We Out of Touch video. They did an Out of Touch video.
Okay, yeah.
Where they like picked out parts from the back from that hallway full of shit, and they just threw it all together, and then they had to kind of guess each price and like have a total price for the PC. And they actually got pretty close. Point being is, like a lot of that stuff was just used crap that they just had. And then they
Yeah.
had to guess the prices and then compare it to like what it would be buying used or not used, buying a brand new one from
Yeah.
like a manufacturer or whatever.
So we're looking at $1,000, probably.
At the top end.
Yeah.
At the top end.
Even low end would be maybe 800,
I would say we could probably reasonably get it to $700.
maybe.
I think so.
That'd be so 7 to 1,000.
we added a buffer to every single thing we
Well,
put on.
yeah. So 700 to 1,000. What?
Yeah, I was just getting a phone call that's like possibly important, but I'm not sure. That's okay. We'll answer later.
But yeah, 700 to 1,000. That's not bad considering that's what we just spent too.
I know. We spent $700 on this.
What, 2 months ago?
Not even. 6 weeks at most. Because think about how many episodes we have with the new mics. It's not that many.
Yeah.
That was nasty.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna vomit. I'm gonna edit that out. I'm gonna blur it.
I can go to the bathroom.
That's something I need to do. You're gonna go to the bathroom? Oh, sick. Okay. Hey, boys and girls. Welcome to the Simon Show. This is the Simon Show. This is the show where Tyler doesn't get to restrain me whatsoever. And I'm just gonna talk about how I'm gonna crawl into his bed tonight and savagely unleash myself on him. And I'm gonna let you figure out what that means. Could be sexual, it could not be. I don't know. It got weird quick, didn't it? I don't know. I've actually thought about doing solo episodes during those periods of time when we were not recording because fucking he was on vacation or I had shit going on the next week or whatever the hell. I don't know how that would have been taken. It would have been weird just me sitting here talking to the fucking camera and looking around my place as I ponder what I'm going to say next, but I think it'd be pretty interesting exercise for myself anyways. Because then next time that I have to have a conversation, it'd be fucking easy peasy. Just talk to myself for an hour. And you know, guys like fucking Theo Vaughn and shit like that, dude, a lot of the times they don't even have a guest. I don't know a lot of the times anymore, but like in the past, that was like a solo podcast. Like
Wasn't it
this
like
past
Bill
weekend.
Burr did that?
Dude,
Doesn't he still
does
have
that? The man does that, and everyone's like, he's the biggest psychopath, and it's purely out of respect, because they're like, how?
And doesn't he like do it?
Talks
Like, isn't
into
it good? I've heard it's like good.
It's a great podcast.
That's so whack.
Half of it's about sports.
What does he talk about?
I don't like sports. I watch it. I mean, I listen to it.
Is it
It's
like
fantastic.
It's like a fucking news
audio
podcast?
only. He just talks, man. Like he talks and then he'll bitch about something and talk about sports and then read some letters and shit. And he's like, all right, see you later. And his big thing is he'll do a podcast. It's like half hour, 45 minutes, depending on how his mood he's in. And then the last half of the podcast is an older one from like 3 years ago.
Oh.
Yep. That's just been his thing. And he's stuck with it this whole time. It's audio only. You can get it on any podcast platform that's audio.
Yeah.
It's a great podcast.
What a psychopath.
It's awesome. Like straight up Monday morning podcast. That's what it's called.
I don't think I could do that.
Great.
I don't think
Great
I could
shit.
sit here and talk for 45 minutes.
I
by
mean, I kind
myself.
of had fun just doing that, just a little bit there, just a little rambling.
I don't-
But it's also, I know it was fucking 4.5 seconds. Like, but
I don't think
you
I
know
could
what
keep the cadence.
That's the thing. I think time frame matters though. Like if you feel like you've got to do what we normally do an hour 10, that's a lot. You know what I mean? Like that's a lot to just spew into the void without having someone. Because realistically, we're doing half and half, right? We're doing like 30, 35 minutes each.
Well, but you also don't have a soundboard to keep the conversation going, so you're directing it 100%.
That's kind of what I mean. Like
Yeah.
I'd have to have my notes out already, and I would have had to read them prior, and like
It
have
would-
a real setup prior to be like,
It would need actual like good preparation.
yeah. Like, and maybe not like super good, but you'd have at least half an hour before of like jotting down ideas, pacing yourself out, trying to see if you can like get certain ideas to talk about 5 minutes and like 10 here. And that's the thing. Like I said, if you're doing 1 hour and 10, that's rough. But if you're doing a solo pod, realistically, it's probably 35 minutes, 40 minutes,
Yeah.
because stretching it out is like, it'd be killer. It would drain the pod of the goodness of it.
Yeah, no, it
And
has
like
to be
I
concise.
said, we're doing half and half, kind of, right? 35 minutes each,
Well,
give or take.
And then even notice when we have a guest, it's like real easy 2 hours.
so
it's
simple.
exponential.
Because we all kind of want to get our ideas out. We all
Yeah.
want to speak, and we all let each other have our turn to speak, which is respectful, of course. But then it makes it super, super long.
Well, because he'll
I
talk
still
for 2
wanna
minutes,
hear-
I have to add for 2 minutes, then
and
you
then I'd
add.
like to add my 2 minutes.
And
then
then-
it just cycles back and forth and back. Maybe he's got a 10-minute spiel, and I only have 5 more minutes to add to it. But then you've got a 20 the next time, and
Yeah.
like whatever. That's fine, but it's just like,
Oh,
now
yeah.
it's adding on to it. And it's like, holy shit. And it's just you and me. Like yesterday we got out of hand, but it's just because we haven't talked. We haven't done one in a while.
I could see, depending on guests, easily a 3-hour pod.
No problem.
Like
Imagine
Mike.
we had a fourth microphone, let's say even.
oh
right?
yeah.
And it's just you, me, Matt, and Luca.
Oh,
Half the pod would be pretty like normal topics. The other half would be shooting the shit. It would get out of hand.
it'd be like Parks and Rec.
Especially if we did like a
Or
7.
what is it? Savior. What's Joe Rogan's?
Protect
Your Parks?
Protect Your Parks.
Yeah.
It'd be a Protect Your Parks episode.
Yeah.
100%. Dude, we'd start at like 7 p.m. and we'd be all cheeching fucking vapes. And by 8:30, we'd be blasted into space. And we'd be talking about fucking apes that have crawled on the moon because I swear I've seen it online. Like, you know what I mean?
Dude, actually, speaking of totally off topic,
All right.
but
Swing it.
but this is, and did you watch the Elon Musk Tucker Carlson?
Jesus Christ. That is a 180 degree. No, I haven't.
No.
How was it?
I sat there and watched the entire thing.
Was it captivating as fuck?
Uh,
There's something about listening to Elon Musk. I'm not even pro or I'm a little con him because he's kind of a piece of garbage.
actually,
but,
we'll go down on Elon. We'll fucking
Sure.
run down the rabbit hole of Elon Musk.
but there's something about him talking, man. Like he's fascinating to listen to because he's obviously a super genius to some degree, and his brain does not work the same way as most people's. And I'm not saying that that's a good enough reason for some of the things that he acts, right, and says and does. But listening to him to talk, it's like I remember the first Joe Rogan podcast with him. It's still clear as day when he was like, I don't wish this on anyone. He's like, I sit there.
I thought that was the Lex Friedman.
No, that was Joe Rogan. Oh, maybe he said it again.
said it on
maybe he
Lex
said it
Friedman too
again.
then, okay.
But the first time I heard it was when he was on JRE the first time. And he was like, I don't wish this on anyone. I think it might have been right after he smoked weed. Possibly. He went, because he was calmer and he could think a bit clearer.
Yeah.
And he goes, I don't wish this on anyone. I have 7 other conversations in my head going on, thinking and making ideas, and I'm still talking to you. And I'm able to formulate stuff. He's Tony Stark, but loopy and
Or is
chubby.
he more of a? Who's the Lex Luthor? Is it Lex Luthor from the DC?
Okay, he's more of a combination. If I'm being real
Yeah.
with you, he's more of a combination because he's more like Tony in the mind aspect, where he's like thinking about so many fucking things. He's running 1,000,000 miles an hour. He's a futurist, right?
Yeah.
Tony Stark, his big thing is billionaire philanthropist. his main title to himself is a futurist. So
Yeah.
he believes in the future. He believes in progressing. He believes in everything like that, right? That's Elon in that sense. But then in the other senses, like space and like trying to control all the fucking car systems and all that shit.
So
like
yeah,
that, I think that's more Lex.
that's what because
The secretive parts of him, more Lex.
well, the thing is because if you look at Elon Musk completely objectively,
Mhm.
like not taking him as a person, but like all of the stuff he does,
Sure.
he has control over the internet.
Yep.
He has control over cars. He
Forgot
has
about X.
the most powerful AI
Yep.
because he was like part of like OpenAI and all that.
Mm-hmm.
He has space. He's pretty much the only one that can send anything to space.
Yep. Yeah, and he has
He has the-
backing from NASA.
He has the Boring Company, which
Oh,
is
yeah,
building
I forgot about
tunnels.
that. I forgot about that. Which, let's be honest, that hasn't really panned out. But other than that, yeah,
But that's one of those things where like maybe it'll happen.
20 years.
What else does he have? Those are the main ones. Oh, Twitter now. Now he has social media.
I mean, you said the internet. Like
I meant-
that's just a method of delivery.
My thing is though is with what is it called?
Starlink.
Okay, but like still, he does have Starlink, which
Yeah.
has more satellites than like most.
However, that's become. Excuse me. That's becoming a problem, though.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've heard, but like some of the nations are actually getting pissed about it because they're actually like clouding up. They're like infecting the skies. It's kind of crazy. Like
But-
they've been complaining. They're like it's a bit much.
Okay, but still, he does have that. Like,
I agree. Fair.
because so really, he could.
'Cause it is a delivery system, though. I
He-
wouldn't say you control the internet.
No,
But
no,
the
no.
X, I would say X is more controlling the internet.
No, but is what I'm saying is he could influence mass populations through Twitter
Yep.
because everyone knows about Twitter and like
Yeah.
he could easily have mass propaganda on it.
Yep.
A lot of like
It's already
rural
pretty
and third world
unfiltered.
countries rely on
Starlink at the
Starlink
moment,
for
yeah.
internet.
Yeah.
So he could literally just turn it off and make countries
I know
black.
this is true. I wonder though if there's sanctions for that. Not sanctions, but like
'Kay.
rules for that.
But the thing is, though, is if he does it, how do they stop it? Sure, there's sanctions, or like, there's probably something against it, but at the end of the day, it's his company.
I know. He could just be like, "Oh, they all massive malfunction.
He also has
Can't work anymore." You know, that kind of thing.
He also has a with tests like the cars. He can like they do have a back door to control
So
them.
the whole EV thing is, I'm done with it, man. Did you know that most manufacturers are actually done with them too?
No, yeah, that was a phase.
I'm really excited to hear.
It was just a phase.
like, Volkswagen is going back to developing engines. Toyota's going back to developing engines.
The technology's
I'm
just not
sorry,
there.
It's getting gross, but thank
The
God.
technology's not there.
Oh my God. It'll never be there, by the way, for electricity
No.
anyways. Not the way the battery packs are thought to be. You know what I mean? There's
Yeah.
never going to be a 1,000-mile fucking battery.
No.
There just won't. It doesn't. Maybe there will be, but from the way that things are looking, it's not possible. The 1,000-mile battery would be the size of the fucking, you know what I mean? It'd
Yeah.
be huge, and then somehow you'd have to make it efficient and not kill itself over the weight, and it's not going to happen, man. What will happen, I believe, is we need to just fucking full send into hydrogen. Full send into hydrogen, because battery packs don't need to be gigantic. The hydrogen is powering the battery.
Yeah.
That engine is still in there powering the battery.
Yeah.
Cleanly with fucking hydrogen. God
Yeah.
damn it. I honestly think we've talked about this. I think in the past. I think it should have been gas, hybrid, hydrogen.
yeah.
I think we should have honestly once the gas thing started becoming an issue in like 2008. Hybrid started becoming a thing, but they should have full sent to hybrid. 100% done. Every car should have been hybrid. Sorry, fucking every car's $5,000 more. They're fucking doing it anyways. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Every car's way more expensive than it needs to be anyways now. Make them all hybrids. Make that happen till 2020. And then during those 10 years, because hybrids were already quite a thing even early 2000s.
Oh yeah.
Right? A lot of cars had models that you could get them in with
Yeah.
hybrids. They should have just streamlined the shit out of that 2010s. 2010 to 2020, run the fuck out of hybrids, make them a bit more efficient, tweak
Yeah.
them a bit. But during that time, work on a delivery system for hydrogen.
There are hydrogen cars. But-
Not hydrogen cars, the delivery system.
Oh, yeah.
That's what's holding us back right now.
Well, yeah,
there's
being
like-
able to fill up.
4 hydrogen stations in the planet. I'm exaggerating.
Yeah.
But there really is. You could probably count if you had 4 hands. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's not a lot.
You need to
and
be in like a
that's-
major city.
You need everything to have. You need one every 5th block.
Yeah.
You need to do it, and you need plants that make this shit, and that's going to be more jobs. Like this is the golden ticket here, and this is going to save so much fuel. It's like this is the way to do it.
As far
But
as like
they
if we're
got
trying to get
greedy.
cleaner.
Yes, absolutely, and cleaner, but also no sacrifice to power, no sacrifice to range, no
The only
if there's a fucking hydrogen station down the highway, then you won't even matter.
but if you look at it politically, the odds of that happening
Of course,
is 0.
Of course,
Like
because there's going to be a fuckload of R&D even before it starts.
well, not even that. Like if you look at it economically, of how much it's going to cost to develop the technology.
It's kind of what I'm saying.
But if you look at it, how hard oil and gas companies are going to fight it.
I don't disagree, but they're already doing that to electric cars, right? Like that's
And it's
that's
working.
It is exactly right, and I'm not denying that, but I'm just saying, because there will come a time where the WHO goes fuck you, like
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. Like we need to push this, and they'll be able to probably still do their gas cars, but then WHO and like governments and stuff will just keep continuing. That's why electric is going as far as it is. The governments and stuff are swaying people hard enough
Yeah.
to buy them with incentives and like, oh, we'll take 10 grand off your car if you buy a green one, whatever, right?
Well, and also
Or
they're
your
giving
power will be this.
crazy money to EV companies.
Bingo, exactly. So that's how they're winning against oil, which is a tough fucking battle because they're trying to win with money.
Yeah.
That's
And-
you're literally fighting a losing battle.
But
But if you sway the public with something that seems more reasonable, a lot of the problems with electric is I can't do this with it. I can't do that with it. If I live in a cold climate, it's fucking not even worth it. I'm
The-
losing 30% of my range before I even start.
the only problem also though with like the American dollar is basically backed by oil.
Yeah. It's no longer a
Well, it hasn't been a gold
golden
standard since
standard.
what, Reagan or
yeah,
something?
like 50 years.
Yeah, 70 something.
Lots.
Is when they but now, well, that's also, if we'll go into that quick, and then I want to go back to that interview with Elon Musk
Yeah,
and Tucker Carlson,
holy
because there were a
fuck,
few other things.
My God, we ran off here.
But like most wars of the U.S., it's basically just for oil rights because, and that's why they have to like, because I went on like a rabbit hole of like why they're so militaristic,
Mhm.
and it's because they basically have to defend all the oil rights, because otherwise, if people don't trade with USD and they don't control the oil supply,
Yep.
the U.S. economy doesn't have anything else.
Nope.
Like that large.
Yep.
Like that's why they went to Iraq, because they found oil. That's why they sway governments to either sell them oil
Convince them to be able to do what they want, though.
or
too.
to use USD. That's why that's why there's a whole big deal with like Russia, China, and India. They're
Right.
not trading in, they're not selling oil
Right.
with the US dollar. There was also like, was it BRICS wanted to do something to where they weren't using USD, they wanted to use something else. Like there's a lot of countries trying to not sell in USD, and America's like, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yep.
Because without that, it's not the reserve currency. And
Fuck them.
well, it would just tank. The US dollar would
Yeah.
tank,
There's nothing to it.
and that's the problem with fiat currency.
Yeah. Yeah.
And actually, I just seen recently they're trying to develop a currency that's backed. It's like 60% by gold or something.
Right. So it's like, how does that work? You're really going to have the sum of two different fucking, like, I don't know, worths added together to make up what?
I forget what it was. It was
Dollar value?
60% golds, 40% something else, but it would be a more stable currency.
Probably would. You're right.
Because
It
at
would
least
fluctuate a lot less. We wouldn't see like our dollar go down to 75 cents and theirs go up to like $1.10. You know? What I
yeah.
mean? Yeah, that might be all right. But why?
Because pretty much most of the world outside of the West is trying to
To
stop
go back?
trying to make a better currency than the U.S. because they're like most of the world is kind of sick of the United States. They're
Can you even blame them? No offense, guys. Like, I bet you half of our viewers are U.S.
no, it's like Britain back in the early 1900s or 1700s.
They're going crazy, man. They're crazy.
The-
It's such in disarray, and there's so much, like, I don't know.
No,
like
the-
smoke and mirrors and
The U-
fucking all the shit that they're focused on is strictly politics right now.
the U.S. over the next 20 years is looking very similar to late 1700s, early 1800s, like UK.
Okay.
Just as far as you can see the crumblings of the empire.
Oh, the instability.
Because
Yeah.
that's what the U.S. independence in
76.
Yeah, I think something like that.
I'm impressed. I even fucking figured
You're within a few years for
yeah,
sure.
Yeah, okay.
But the U.S. independence, and after the U.S., a lot of other countries, and it was over the course of decades. But now look at Britain;
Yeah.
they don't really have that power
No,
anymore.
No.
Sure, like in as far as the European Union and that they do have sway, but not
Sure, but it's not the same.
Well,
it's not the same as it used to be.
as far as
like even post World War II, like
now. The only thing Britain has is like a really strong banking. Like the British pretty much just became a bank.
right.
It's kind of like the Roman Empire became a church.
What a disaster.
But that
Combining a church.
it was
with
actually
a
Ji-
warrior. Fucking.
Jimmy Carr. Do you know him, the comedian?
of course, of course.
He said he's like empires don't fall, they just change. And he's like, if you look at history, it's like every major empire, like the Roman Empire became the Roman Catholic Church.
Rebranding.
The British Empire became a banking system.
It's rebranding.
I don't know what the U.S. is going to become.
Yeah, because they were warmongers, and they're still warmongers. I meant what?
Wait, what do you mean? They're only like the global police force.
I don't even know how to come back from that. Yeah.
They have. What do you mean? They only have.
Global
They,
police.
they only have embassies in every country and a military presence in 70% of the world.
They only have the strongest air force, and also the second strongest air force in the world.
And also, I think the fourth.
Probably.
Like, I think it's like their Air Force, the Navy. Then it's like, I think
Britain,
China.
China, Britain.
Maybe. I think it's like Russia, China,
Yeah,
something.
Okay. And then
I think
what?
it's. And then I think it's like
US
the
again,
Army.
like- it's ridiculous, though. Like even just the top two's enough. They could send planes out across the world and bomb the whole place.
What is it? They can have boots on ground anywhere in 24 hours.
Yep.
And that's
From the furthest point to the furthest point. I mean,
Yeah.
the furthest point.
and that's like an actual presence.
Yeah, like have an actual, probably like what, a battalion.
They could have an army
Yeah.
in 24,
Yeah, which is
and they could have anyone. Well, they pretty much have an army
And
everywhere.
I bet you within 2 days, the whole fucking everything's there.
The only thing they'd really be limited by would be naval support,
Yeah, they would just have to have a ship travel,
which.
set
They
a carrier
have-
off the coast.
But the thing is, they have carriers pretty much everywhere all the time.
Yeah, I know.
They have their 9 carriers or
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
and they. I also seen.
Holy Christ, man!
Because there's this guy. He broke down the entire U.S. budget and how it works, and like how there's like it used to be 50 different companies that sold to the U.S. government. Now it's like 4 because they just slowly like it's becoming a monopoly.
Yeah.
And like things are so overcharged. Like a missile that used to be $10,000 is now like fucking 400.
$400,000, yeah.
And, like so they talked about like all that and how the U.S. is also like the U.S. military isn't just weapons. It's also they have to house them. They have to feed
Everything.
them. They have to.
Everything.
There's
It's a
so
whole
much.
society. It's own society.
It's
It's
own-
like the plant here, right,
Yeah.
is like its own city.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. All of the U.S. military
Is its own
really
country.
its own separate entity.
And that's 100%. And there's so much earmarked for black
Good
book.
Lord, they have
like,
the biggest budget.
trillions
The
every year.
biggest one. There's nothing else that has that as big a budget.
No, what is it? I think you can add up the next like 10. And it's the same as far as spending. But
You know how great America could be?
but but the thing is they have to have that military for them to exist.
Yeah, I understand.
It's the
I
same as
understand. But if they shifted some shit around,
no, and what in the first time in I think forever they've actually lost embassies. Like they've had embassies overrun.
I've heard about that.
That was like earlier in the year.
Yeah.
They had like it was like 4
That's significant.
first time ever.
Yeah.
And that's when a lot of countries started kind of preying on the U.S.
Because they were like,
there was
not as strong as you think you
there
are.
was a stumble.
Yeah.
There was a misstep.
Which is enough to show weakness.
They showed weakness for the first time in 100 fucking years.
And they were like, oh, fuck. Everyone was like, oh, wait, we can...
But then,
Get away with
but then
this.
you've seen like crazy. Now the military, they've kind of stepped up their game. Oh, have you also seen where they're like, the U.S. is gearing up for war when they stop with their like LGBTQ
Yes.
propaganda, and now
Yes.
it's hardcore.
Yeah.
Have you noticed?
America, fucking...
Have you
Yeah.
seen that the military campaigns have changed a lot?
Drastically.
Now it's like it's not like fluff.
No.
It's like
It's like
guys.
it's more cut. And
Guys
dry.
on boats fucking shooting.
Yeah.
Guys in planes bombing
Yeah,
shit.
it's
Like,
nuts. It's nutty.
and it's like, okay, they're serious
Yep.
about something.
Things are going to change here in a little bit.
because
In this election season,
the same thing
things are
happened.
going to go crazy, I think.
The same thing happened with the British government near the end. They had, it's when, because the British government did the same thing. They had military everywhere, but then because it's so expensive to house people overseas and make sure they
Dude.
have,
It's called the throes of death.
yeah,
Like the last hard breath before you die, like you've
You
got
go-
all the fight, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's like that. You've
But near the end of the British empires, what they started doing is having skeleton army. We can relate it to Viltrumites.
Yep.
You know how
Yep.
they have this. It looks like they're
big
this.
visual presence, but realistically, it's fucking shambles. And
They had skeleton armies
Yeah.
everywhere, but it looked like there's British presence. And then, like how the U.S. embassies now are falling. Now they're like, okay, they're the skeleton army. Like, oh, it's this big presence. Then they fight it, and they're like, there were supposed to be
they
10,000 guys.
crumbled, and we made it through. And it's like, oh wait, is this like this across everywhere? Yeah.
And now, if say you start testing, they're obviously gonna. There will be, like you said, the last throes of death where they're like, no.
give it all they have left. Yeah.
And if it works, it works. But if not, it falls apart.
Exactly. If it wins, then it's like, oh, you just extended it by how long? Like you've got lots of time now. But if you lose, it's over.
That's what
You lose it
That's
all.
what happened with American independence.
Yeah.
Is with Britain is they fought back and lost, and then around that time, Britain everywhere started like,
Spreading too thin.
and the U.S. is spread pretty thin as far as their
Absolutely.
military.
Absolutely.
Like, don't get me wrong, it's they're the
Still
most
vast
powerful.
and powerful. Don't get me wrong, but it does matter.
I
It does
think
matter.
like it's definitely not a problem now.
it's like almost
probably
at their weakest point in a sense.
the weakest point in their history for
Yeah,
sure.
That's what I mean.
And you're not going to see anyone be able to do anything in the next 20
Not
years.
not seriously, but it'll all be subtle.
You're never going to see an invasion of the U.S.
No, and because that kind of shit is just going to lead to nukes.
Or is what'll happen is a consolidation of military
Sure,
presence.
sure.
If the U.S. felt threatened, they could recall troops and carriers and
Oh, yeah.
defend their border.
Oh my god, it wouldn't. If they needed to bring everyone back to the U.S., no one would win.
No.
Nobody could get through the no.
But the problem is right now is they're spread so thin that you can
Take a
pick it
while.
off.
Yeah. Like if you went in and hard strike and like you could do it within the week, that would
Yeah,
be
but-
devastating.
But also,
But nobody has the balls to do anything like that either.
yeah, no.
It's like still kind of like it's not Cold War, but it feels like it. You know what I mean? It's like everyone's tensions are running high.
Oh.
Everything's really tense. Everything's super like yeah.
And like obviously this is pure speculation.
Yeah, of course. We're fucking nobodies. We know nothing. We're just reading the internet.
the-
Let's be honest here.
But also like because there was a this was like what, maybe pre-COVID for sure. The worries that China, Russia, India even and a few other countries
I remember.
were like starting to ally, and everyone was scared that
Yeah.
might be.
A new superpower.
And now we're seeing that was kind of all propaganda and smoke and mirrors, because China's basically failing. India has a really fast growing population
They're
and
strong,
economy.
but they're just birthing. It feels like
It's a new country basically. Like as
Yeah.
far as they're in their infancy, they
not-
couldn't build anything really it would take them 50 years.
Yeah, not like the way that we're thinking, anyways. You know,
Because like even Japan, it took them
Well,
World
they're
War One
fucking
to the
just
70s,
just recovered, really. Fuck.
and that it took them 80
I
years
know,
to become
I know.
anything powerful.
Want to switch gears to Elon Musk quick before?
Yeah.
finish up?
So
what
the
were you
Tucker
gonna say?
Carlson, Elon Musk, because he's hard Trump. Like,
Yeah.
and right at the beginning of their
he
interview,
called out Eminem for fucking being a Diddy dick rider too.
did he?
Yeah. Crazy. Because
Um,
Eminem just backed Kamala. Yeah.
did you see Mark Cuban is hedging his bets right now because he was hardcore Kamala, and now they asked if would you do like an interview with Trump and something else, and he's like, oh yeah, I'd be totally open to that. And like so now it was they were talking about it on the Patrick Bet David podcast, and Bet David was just like, yeah, he's basically hedging his bets because he's not sure now.
Yeah.
Because everyone was hardcore buying Kamala for a long time,
I know.
and now everyone's kind of like, okay,
Not certain.
well,
and I'm
be-
not even. I'm fucking.
but you
I'm
gotta
not
think-
saying I'm pro. Or
But you got to
fucking
think if
either
you're
one.
a businesses should stay out of politics 100%. They shouldn't have a side.
I agree because that's just muddying the waters.
The thing is though, because even purely
Because now it's not the public making any kind of choice. Let's be
no,
honest.
but it's
here.
also if you have say Apple backing Kamala, say,
Yeah.
and Trump wins, that's bad for business.
Yeah.
Because then they could also like go like as much as the country shouldn't,
Yeah.
they can put like sanctions on
100%.
specific companies
Yeah.
that were backing opponents.
Absolutely.
Which is probably illegal, but like
How many illegal things already go on? Like, I don't know. Is actual insider trading illegal? Isn't it?
yeah, but there's so many loopholes
Well,
that
that's
it's
what I mean.
like
it happens anyways.
yeah. Look at what's that senator?
Yeah. That chick, right? That
Yeah.
lady. Yeah. She's fucking multimillionaire.
Oh, she's worth like hundreds of millions.
Yeah. Like, fuck off.
and it's because she's on the Senate and her like husband is something in like a business
Yeah.
like is like a trader and
Gets a
it's
bunch of information before it even happens, and then
Yeah, I
makes
think-
the plays
yeah,
and wins the millions.
he will she'll get inside information that her husband trades.
Yeah. And it's like, fuck off.
Yeah.
Don't think I'm stupid.
But right at the beginning of that interview, Tucker Carlson asked Elon Musk what he's like, so you're all in on Trump? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, what happens if he doesn't win? He's like, I'm probably fucked.
Trump said that?
No.
I mean, sorry, not Trump. Elon said that?
Oh yeah, he's like it'd be bad. He's like the
really
the
funny.
Biden administration already doesn't like Elon Musk.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like
oh yeah.
really doesn't
No,
like
no,
him.
not a fan.
So he's like, no, they'll put heavy restrictions on me, and it'll
He
be.
says what he says. He says what he wants, and whether it's right or wrong, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying he really does.
He even said under their administration because under whatever rockets are like worldwide,
Sure.
it takes extensive background checks and like you
Oh,
need to
yeah,
be a
oh, yeah.
citizen. Like you can't just let anyone work on a rocket.
And send it to to space?
Well, because the thing is it's not even that, but it's also rocket tech. So if you
yeah, because you could just transfer that right over to fucking shooting
To
people and
bombs.
like bombs and nukes and whatever else. Yeah, of course.
Um,
It's next door.
yeah, it's basically the same thing.
The
It's-
R&D development is next door. It's the right there.
It's
yeah.
like, okay, I'm going to put a rocket on a bomb instead of a rocket on something that's going to send a payload. Same thing.
Yeah.
The payload is just explosives.
Yeah.
But he is dealing with lawsuits because under the new administration, you have to have a certain amount of people that are like new immigrants or like illegal immigrants.
Oh no.
And so in the U.S., so he's like, okay, I'm being sued by them, but if I hire them, I'm going to be sued by.
Oh.
So he's like, I basically can't win.
Oh.
He's like, no matter what, it's like
Getting sued.
It's like I can't hire illegal immigrants, but I get sued because I don't have enough. And he's like,
God damn.
he's like, this is like, and because did you see if Trump gets in, he's going to be in charge of what was it? In part of like a branch of the U.S. He's going to get like appointed because they want to get rid of all the regulatory agencies
Oh.
because he said they have like 400 and some. What was it? It was something ridiculous. There's like, I forget how many agencies it was, but he's like, there's like, that means that there was like 3 agencies made every year since the
Unreal.
U.S. like
Yeah.
started. He's like, and there's so much overlapping and so much contradiction because
That's so nuts.
as far as like legislation and like censoring and like
Yeah.
how the policies work, they like Trump and Elon together a big push in their campaign is they want to get rid of all these regulatory agencies. He said really they could get away with like I think it was like 99 or something.
Oh my god.
So and he's like he wants to balance the budget for the first time ever
Oh my god.
and like
that'd be kind of crazy.
and actually see where all this money is going. And I forget it would be like a ridiculous amount of jobs, like because there's so many agencies that have the same that do the same thing, but now
just overlapping now, and it's
because
like
because
it's creating more.
he used the comparison of you know how Twitter he fired 80%,
Yeah.
and it's the exact same.
It's the same.
He's like, I just want to cut the fluff
Yeah.
from the U.S. government,
Yeah.
and he's like, we could probably cut 80%.
That's fucking nuts.
You really think politicians are gonna like that?
No, they're gonna lose their fucking minds.
Just think how many government jobs that. I mean, it would be great for. It would be
that part
great.
I would really enjoy.
It would be
though. I
great
would
for
really love
innovation.
it.
It would be because he said there basically you can't innovate because there's
Yeah,
too
yeah,
many.
yeah.
There's too much red tape.
Too much blocking. Yeah.
Because he said, but they don't have anything for AI. There's no regulatory agency.
Right, and that's why it's booming. Because you can do whatever the fuck you want right now.
And Elon Musk said he wants
They don't know how to regulate it.
he wants not even a regulation like a regulatory agency, but someone to just oversee and see what the companies are doing.
Yeah.
Just so the government knows that they're
Yeah,
not
you-
Lex Luthering.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like they're not
exactly.
like they're not building.
secretly building a fucking.
They're not building an
underground-
AI that's gonna
Yeah.
like that could take over the power grid
yeah,
or
yeah,
something.
yeah.
And
Exactly. That's all. You just need to do little checkups.
oh, that's another thing with his solar panels. He also like supplies a big chunk of like electricity. In
Oh,
the
yeah,
States.
okay.
So he also
Interesting.
controls part of the power grid.
That's good.
And if he gets into basically like an office in the U.S., now he'll have crazy political power and crazy. Oh, he is Lex Luthor.
We're getting in deep.
Yeah, I think that's good though.
That's good, folks.
That was fun.
On that was a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking. We went all over the map a little bit on this one.
It all stayed pretty techy.
It did absolutely. It's just
It was all tech.
different, varying.
Yeah. We
degrees
went
of
from
it.
computers to
Yeah.
Elon Musk controlling the world.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Right on.
It happens.
Good episode. Well, folks, thanks for joining us on episode 35. Hopefully, everything goes smooth with the video. If not, we'll just upload the audio. Like
Yeah,
whatever.
and we'll see you on episode 36 next week.
Yeah. Well, I'm not uploading this one until
Yeah,
Monday.
but it'll still be next week when
Yeah.
episode 36. So we'll see you next week.
Yeah, I guess. Fuck me. Whatever. Hey, it's been a month and a bit, man. Like,
Did you just forget how to podcast?
Yep.
Damn.
I don't know how to do this anymore. I don't know. Yes, last week's was fucking pretty minty, folks. Ciao.